Napoli fans around the world, welcome to another episode of Napoli Talk. Guys, what a win by Napoli. That's 11 in a row now against an embarrassing Roma, guys. Roma had zero chances on goal. Zero chances on goal playing at home. The team that was supposed to win the title this season. The team that had Roma, the team that had a project, the team that had Roma, the team that had Mourinho, the team that had a project, the team that had Dybala. What happened to Roma? What happened to them? Zero chances on goal against a team that at the start of the season no one even put in their top 6. Guys, I was speaking to people, and the conversations are there on Twitter. Go back to my tweets in August and July, or the start of the very first games of the season. Oh, Napoli, as soon as they face Roma, they're gonna lose. There's no chance they're gonna finish above Roma. Where was Roma today, guys? I only saw one team out there, and that was Napoli. Only one team. Guys, it's crazy. It's crazy because actually it wasn't even that Roma are a bad team. It's just that Napoli are such a good team. So just organized. They're fighting for every ball. They kept it super tight at the back. They attacked really well, and we just have so many solutions, guys. Every time they play, I bring to you the key moments of how Napoli win games, the key reasons why, and every single stream we're saying something different. Sometimes it's the way that they play wide, sometimes it's the way that they play from the back. Today it was the way they attacked through the middle, even though the goal came from very fast one-touch football by Napoli, but they had so many chances of just slicing Roma through the middle, and that was a key way that Napoli kept putting pressure on Roma. And Roma played so dirty today, guys. I have not seen a team play that dirty in such a long time. Like, the ref lost complete control of that game. Complete control. Because just looking at some stats, guys, while I'm live here, Roma had 14 fouls officially gone against them. But I think if there was another referee, any other referee, that number could have been at least double. And the type of fouls were just so bad. Ibanez, I don't know how he managed to go away almost the entire game without a yellow card until the very end. The referee just let him do whatever he wanted. There were fouls being done off the ball. There was so many situations that Napoli didn't get a foul, and Roma didn't get a yellow card. And you might say that's not so important in the grand scheme of things. It is, because when a player is yellow carded, it definitely affects how they're gonna play. So yeah, the ref today was super bad. super bad, guys. I mean, we need to make sure that we talk about these things even when we win, because we need people to be aware. We need people to be aware that Napoli is not only winning, but they're winning against the other team. They're winning against the referees. They're winning against the system, and it's amazing. And it's amazing. Daniel Bowen, thank you so much for your €10 donation. Okay, Dom, my man, you said wait until the Roma match, right? I did say that. I did say to wait until the Roma match to start talking about the Scudetto, guys. We're in this now. We're deep in this. There's no going back. This is us in another Scudetto fight, another championship fight for the second season running. We look stronger. We feel stronger. There's a lot of hype within the team as well, and I think they really believe it. Like last year, they were, They believed in it as well. Obviously, you got to believe in your work. But this year, they really believe in it. They actually think that they're the ones that need to win it, that should be winning it. Last year, they believed that they could. This year, they believe that they will. It's a completely different mindset, in my opinion. And yeah, I think we have to start talking about the Scudetto run now. We've been hiding for too long. Payman Dadgar says, finally we can say this is a game we would not have won last year. No, I disagree. And by the way, thank you for the £4.99 donation. I disagree that this is the first game that we can say that. I think there was a few games this season, even the last one against Bologna, that I felt like last year we wouldn't have come away with that. We wouldn't have come away. Guys, this is our 11th win in a row. It hasn't been easy. It hasn't been smooth. And I think there's been 3 or 4 games in there where it was really, 50-50 between us winning or drawing or potentially even losing, and we come away with a win. And yeah, I mean, this game last year, I mean, this is where you can probably have the most comparison. I do agree with you that maybe this is the game where you can compare it the most to last year, because think about it. Last year, right, we go and play against Roma in the 9th game of the season. At that point, we had won 8 in a row. This was going to be our 9th game last season, and we draw 0-0 with Osimhen missing a big chance last year. All right, and from that point onwards, it kind of just stopped Napoli's progression, and we entered a phase of the season where we started dropping some points, right? That's what happened the last time we played Roma. A very similar game, ended 0-0. This time, I think this was an even more challenging game against an even better Roma team, against a more physical Roma team, against a more mature Roma team, and yet we come away with a win. And Osimhen finally gets a goal against a big team. Huge difference compared to last year. Huge difference, and this is the most comparable. And yeah, if you really want to see how Napoli grew in the past year, take a look at that Roma game last year and take a look at this one, because there's so many similarities leading up to the game and during the game, but with vastly different results. Let's take a look at some other comments, guys. There's so many of you, and yeah, 157 viewers now, guys. We will go on to a tactical analysis with screenshots of the game. We will do a player ratings where I give each guys a score. We will go over what Spalletti says post game, so stick around. But let me see some of the comments. This platform is also a way for me to have your opinions come through, not just mine. So bear with me while I read some comments and reply to them, and then we go on to the next part of the analysis. So Maximus says, not today, Roma. Justin Turano says, Osimhen with a bunch of exclamation points. Arsene Lupin, what a game. Anthony Navarro in the house says, Osimhen got his goal against the big club. Finally, this could be Osimhen, starting to score and in goals in games that really, really matter, because that's been the one thing about him that we haven't had in past few years. Diego Marquez says, what a rocket, talking about Osimhen's goal. And we had some good shots, actually. Lozano had a few good shots, and yeah, we really tested Rui Patricio. We could have maybe had a few more goals. Jesus was really close to scoring. In the end, we probably scored the most difficult chance, which tends to happen with Osimhen. Yuban says, the goal was insane. The defense also, Kim Min-jae's beast. The sense of anticipation and air defense is really something. And I think the fact that Roma didn't have a shot on target actually maybe penalizes Kim and Jesus' player ratings, because, I feel like a lot of the things that they did weren't in the box, and they weren't that last minute tackle, that last minute block like the one he did against Milan, the spectacular things, right? It was much earlier in the events where we stopped Roma, and I think that sort of plays into the perception that they weren't really protagonists in this game, but actually they were instrumental, right? This is actually how it should be done, right? Don't even get them into the box, stop everything before. But yeah, I mean, nothing for them to really do in their box, which is crazy against a team like Roma at home. Sara Farrugia says, smash that like button, Forza Napoli sempre. Guys, 213 of you, and only about half of you has smashed the like button. There's 96 likes. We need to get to at least 150 before we go on to the next part of the video where we do the tactical analysis. Right, so I know you like watching me on full screen, but minimize me, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. What are you doing, bro, if you're not subscribed? And then, you know, it makes me happy. Matt Marco says, it's always nice to beat the henchmen of Serie A, Roma. Ayola Oni in the house. You owe me coffee tomorrow for Osimhen's goal. I will, man. That's Ayola is my Nigerian friend here. Man, what a goal from Osimhen, bro. Anthony Navarro says, I'm happy we beat Roma because if the talking fans have been doing, I don't understand your comment. Glad we got this victory away because we know Dybala will be back for that second leg most likely. That's a problem for future Napoli. Hafiz Yusuf says, Osimhen now, no debate, is the number one choice for me. Is the best striker in the league any coach will ever want. From attack to midfield to defense, what a player. What a complete performance by Osimhen. He had, this was the most difficult game of the season, by far. And in terms of also a striker, because you had Roma being super, super aggressive. Smalling and Ibanez didn't give him any sort of leeway. They were physical. They were always on him, and he made it work, guys. And he found some space. He muscled them out of the ball. It was a really, really strong performance by Victor Osimhen. Waisu Olawale says, for those of you that kept saying Osimhen hasn't scored against the top side, he has answered you. I don't know how you guys analyze a striker with such comment. Waisu, man, he scored now, and we're all happy about it. But before this, we had to be objective and take into consideration in the analysis of the striker that he wasn't scoring against the big teams. It was a fact. It's not an opinion. It's something that's pen on paper. You know, it's in the record books that he wasn't scoring against the big teams. It's part of doing someone's job objectively. I love Osimhen to bits. Absolutely love him. I'm one of his biggest fans. But I can't come on the show and say he's the best striker in the world if he can't score against a top 5 team. Right? But that doesn't mean he can't be the best striker in the world. And that doesn't mean that he doesn't have the potential to be a top striker in the world. It just means that up until today, there was a little bit of a blocking point. And maybe today, now we can start elevating him to a new level. Because this goal, guys, tonight is going to be shown all around the world. All around the world, guys. This is a goal that Haaland would be proud of. So, you know, now Osimhen, if he can score goals like this against Roma, against Inter, against Juve, then we're talking about a serious striker. And by that, I mean top 2 or 3 in the world. Because up until this point, I think he was only in the top 6 or 7. But to get to the top 2 or 3, you got to do this every single time. And it's, you know, I think it was a fair analysis of people pointing that out. I wish I was in Florence with that girl in the video. I would have let them know how I felt about them, says Maximus1318. Now, completely out of context, this may sound like a really strange comment that Maximus wants to be with some random girl in Florence. What he's actually talking about, I think, is there was a little girl that was a Napoli fan back when we were playing against Fiorentina, and they asked her, as she was wearing the Napoli shirt, and they asked her to flip it around because you're not apparently allowed to wear a Napoli shirt outside of Naples or in the Fiorentina stadium, which was stupid. So yeah, you know, obviously they don't treat us very well in other stadiums. What a goal by Mr. Effort, says Anthony G. I love that nickname. Not the most exciting game, but a win is a win, so I could care less. Roini Vardoshvili says, last 10 minutes was brilliant how we kept the ball and gave no chance to Roma. Great defensive skill from Ossi and Kvara. And I think, you know, Kvara today, for example, he was super marked, super blocked. Not one of his best games, but he actually became, I think, the most important player in the field in the last 10 minutes. Because when you need to keep control of the ball, then it's important to have someone like Kvara on the ball because he's so good at not giving it away. So even though he didn't do too much offensively, then, you know, he was super important at the end, and he has he puts in a great amount of effort defensively. Sport TV 24 is in the house, says Grande Osimhen. Azzurrino says, I even think aside from the goal, Smalling had a good game, so Ossi's goal is even more impressive. I agree. I agree with that. David Allen says, we are 3 points clear, but I'm not going to discount Lazio and Milan. Both have great squads too. Lazio have not conceded a goal since we scored against them, which was, a month ago? So Lazio are properly in the title hunt, you know. I think it's between these three teams. I think Milan, Lazio, Napoli. Username says, we want a scrappy game, which is a signature of champions. 100% agree. Daniel Bowen says, bro, the calmness is just mesmerizing. Not one dude loses focus on this team. It's crazy. It's crazy, like how they are just absorbing the pressure. I see them playing and they just have the most, they just seem so chill. Like, okay, we've got players like Lobotka and he's got, ice in his veins, and fair enough that he's so calm and collected on the ball. But then you see guys like Juan Jesus, who are not even playing that much, and he's so focused and calm. You see guys like, just everybody just, cool, calm, collected. It's really amazing. Let's get some more comments. Yola's telling people to smash the like button. Guys, I'm gonna need at least 10 more likes. At least 10 more likes before I go on to the analysis of the game. So if you haven't done that yet, then you know what you got to do, right? Osimhen scores, you smash. That's how it works, okay? Smash the like button. Levan Kvaratskhelia says, what a game. For a minute, I had a feeling Roma was some German club playing powerhouse and dirty. No, I think German clubs play much better football than what Roma played today. Roma was absolute anti-football. Anti-football. Azzurino says, imagine having 3 strikers, of which 2 scored 9 goals in the first strike's absence. In the first striker's absence, and then he comes back and scores 3 in a row. What a team. Yeah, the depth that we have up top is crazy. Mourinho tried to revive Ndombele with extra training, personal training, but he didn't appreciate it. Yeah, that was an interesting Ndombele-Mourinho thing that happened. Guys, loving the amount of likes that we have. So many of you liked it, so I'm going to go on to the next part of the video, which is our analysis, because you guys are, you guys deserve it. You guys deserve it. Right, and I'm going to stop every once in a while to reread some of your comments, so don't worry if I haven't yet got into your comment. You guys know how this works by now. I show you a few slides and then I stop and then I go back to the comments and then I keep doing it. So just keep putting your comments in the chat. So I want to highlight, I think, the number one way that Napoli was hurting Roma today, because if you think about it, we didn't play wide much, right? We weren't able to get the ball to Kvara and Lozano on the wing and put in crosses and all that kind of stuff that we normally do. What we did today was we used the gaps that Roma had in midfield and exploited them, running through them, right? So we've seen Napoli play the ball around very well in the past few games. This time, right, we switched things up. Instead of passing the ball around, just run right through them. And this is an example of Zielinski doing this very early in the game, and he gets tackled from behind before he stopped. But once you do this, you all of a sudden get past 2 or 3 players all at once, and that was instrumental. And then we talked about Roma playing super dirty, and this was from the very start, guys. I mean, this is within 10 minutes of the game, and I think at least 2 or 3 Roma players deserve the yellow card at this point. There's some horrible tackles that the ref was just not calling, not giving yellow cards. It was tough out there. But, Napoli continued to play well. They didn't shy away from this. All the players continued to want the ball, regardless of them knowing a crunching tackle was going to come at them. So props to Napoli. And what annoyed me, I can't figure this out for the life of me. I just hate this. Every time we play Roma, there's some teams, Roma, Atalanta, and Inter, and Juve. Also Milan, Lazio, Sassuolo, Bologna, Verona. Yeah, pretty much all of them. All of them, I can't stand them. Because why is it that every time there's a foul that goes against them, they just start being like, oh my God, that's a foul? No way. And start complaining to the referee and all this. It's like, guys, just accept that it's a foul. literally every single time. I can't believe how annoying these teams are. It's crazy. And Roma are the worst at that. Out of all these teams that I said I don't appreciate, Roma are by far the worst at doing this. I want to thank Vito Russo Moliterni with the $5 I think it is, donation. Thanks so much, Vito. Hi Dom, here's a little token of appreciation from Italian expat down under in Australia. Love your work, keep it up, Forza Napoli, sempre. Thank you, Vito. What time is it in Australia? You must be probably just waking up. Maybe you saw the game, maybe not, and so you're just tuning in to know how Napoli did. I appreciate you tuning in from all the way in Australia, man, and yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. Australia is dope. I want to visit so bad. Anyways, so let me take some other comments before we move on with the rest of the analysis. Let me go all the way back to, let's see, Diego Marquez also. I missed this. Sorry, man. Diego Marquez with a $199 donation. Thank you, Diego. Maximum effort from the whole team. Well deserved. 100%. The amount of effort that these guys are putting is crazy. And I know Diego's enjoying the past few games because Lozano had been scoring, Napoli's winning, Lozano's playing starter, and I know he's a big fan of him, and I know he's a big fan of Napoli now. You know, I think this is what happens. I think with a lot of people is that they have a player from their country that joins, you know, the team, and they're like, yeah, I'll just follow Napoli for this player, and then right, you get super into the club because how can you not fall in love with Napoli? And I think that's what's happening with a lot of people, which is great, you know, and I hope that happens with all of you guys that are joining from South Korea, from Georgia, from Nigeria, you know, from all these countries where we have the superstar player of that country coming to Napoli. I hope you guys become Napoli fans, you know, regardless of the player being there, because it's a great experience and it's a great thing to be a Napoli fan. Brian Wood says Zielinski's tackle at the edge of the box was amazing. Yep, that's the one that set up one of the chances that we had later on. I'm annoyed I didn't get a screenshot of it to put in the analysis. I'm very annoyed at myself for that. Jesus played great, and Ndombele was a huge factor at moments, but I couldn't stop thinking only if we had Anguissa, says Rafa. Yeah, we're doing this without Anguissa, which is, I think, the key player we have this season. Right, so I think another way that we were trying to cause Roma some problems was Oliveira pushing up. So we saw Zielinski run through the middle of the Roma midfield before, but another guy that really did this was Oliveira. I think he had a fantastic game, and you know, he was pushing so hard, especially in the first half. And you know, this allowed him to come into the midfield, right? And it allowed then Zielinski to push forward and you know, occupy the back line of Roma a little bit, because otherwise it would have just been Osimhen up there by himself. And you know, Zielinski there just allowed us to have that extra option. It allowed Osimhen to have a bit more freedom, and that was pretty useful for us as well in the first half. Actually, I want to redo my player ratings because I don't think I gave Oliveira a high enough score. I don't think I did. So when we get to the player ratings, I'll modify Oliveira's and bump him up a little bit. And this is him again running through the Roma midfield, giving the ball to Lozano. Maybe like a second too late. I think he took an extra touch here. If he gave it now, it could have been a perfect ball to Lozano. I think he waited a little bit and it was a little long, and Lozano just couldn't really direct it on goal. But yeah, this was a very good chance for Napoli. And then we come to the end of the first half, where it was the first moment where I think the referee had to make a really big decision. So Ndombele passes the ball to Zielinski. Zielinski, you know, has such good vision, has such good feet, picks out Ndombele, who makes a very smart run. But I just want you guys to recall something that Spalletti said previously, which was, you know, you got to play the ball where there's some space. And we're so good at creating space. Look at how Osimhen pushes the Roma defenders completely out of position, creates such a big gap between the defenders and the midfielders, pretty much. And this space is exploited by Ndombele, who sees it, attacks it, gets the ball from Zielinski, and then he goes past 2 or 3 players himself, and then he's one-on-one with the keeper, pushes it to the left, and at first the ref gave a penalty, right? So you can't really say that the ref didn't want Napoli to win, right? I never really bought into that whole thing that people were saying that refs don't want Napoli to win. It's not about that. It's just that they're bad. They're bad at their job. It's that simple. When they should give fouls, they don't give it. When they don't give them, they should have given it. All that sort of stuff. And yeah, this is another example of a ref just not really being that good today. Not in this particular. This was a 50-50. I don't know if this is a penalty or not. I don't know. This is super hard for me. It depends on the angle that you see it. All I'm gonna say is that I think what this proves, the fact that he gave us the penalty in the first place, is that there's no conspiracy theory. All right, because I know some people would be like, oh, the refs, they don't want Napoli to win. No, it's not like that. It's just that sometimes, man, they're just really bad at their job. So yeah, the ref ends up not giving this penalty after viewing it on VAR, which is fair enough. And you know what? I prefer it like this, because in the end of the day, we won. And no one can now say that we won because of a soft penalty or a 50-50 penalty. Could you imagine the media tomorrow, tonight, if we had won 1-0 because of a penalty like that? Everybody would have been saying, oh, Napoli cheated or something, or Napoli got lucky. Instead, we won without this, which is amazing. So Sport TV 24 says Mourinho was mad tonight. He wishes he had Osimhen. Yeah, exactly. Joseph Cercone says Spalletti really making sure everyone feels like they can make a contribution. Elmas and Gaetano early on. Trust Osimhen for 90 minutes. Oliveira starts. A team unity that will help us later this season. I couldn't have said it better myself. Joseph, I was super surprised by Gaetano coming on. Super surprised. I would have thought maybe he would have put on Demme or something. Demme, I don't think has even seen the field this season. I know he was injured, but you'd think by now he's fine. But Vesapis is saying don't talk about it. We're just 3 points from Milan about the Scudetto. No, we're not saying we're gonna win it. I'm not gonna say we're gonna win it. It's a big difference. There's a big difference, guys. But we're in the fight. You can't shy away from this now. It is what it is, guys. We're playing on the big stage. If we lose, hey, it happens, right? But to say that we're not in the fight for the Scudetto is just not being realistic at this point. We gotta say we're in it. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to think that we need to win it. See, we don't have to put that kind of pressure on Napoli that says we must be winning the Scudetto, but we're fighting for it, and we should be aware of that by now after this game. Let's see some more comments. Rangers this week, maybe we can hang 6 or 7 goals on them, says David Allen. Yeah, I mean, I just want to win, It'd be nice to get the streak going. I don't really care if we win well or not against Rangers. I'd love to see, for example, Gaetano get a start. I think he deserves it. He's part of this team now, playing 30 minutes against Roma. I think he can take on Rangers for sure at this point. Reese Nash says, great to see Spalletti trusting Gaetano and him putting in a solid shift. So yeah, a lot of people talking about Gaetano today. And Ndombele was worthless, dangerous for Napoli, was nervous, both Jesus, but he did okay, says Levan Kvaratskhelia. Yeah, I didn't like Ndombele too much. Lost the ball a few times, but I liked the moment where he almost got us a penalty. That was a very, very nice play by Ndombele. And I thought Jesus was okay. He doesn't inspire much confidence. He doesn't look like he's going to make the right decision, but actually, at the end of the day, he didn't screw anything up. today. So, you know, it's just one of the things that he doesn't give off the right vibe. Maybe it doesn't give off the most confident vibe at times, but the final effort was all right. Guys, there's a lot of comments, I'm sorry if I don't get to read all of them, but as this channel grows, then it's just gonna be harder and harder to get all of your messages through. But I'm trying my best. Sal Di Brita says, Dom, with respect to the refs being lukewarm garbage, do you think the overall quality would improve if they had to answer to the media post-match? 100%. 100%, Sal, I agree with you there. The only problem I see with that, here's my problem with the media, right? It's about, well, what if the media is controlled by, let's say you go to, let's say you watch a game, right? And the game is transmitted on Mediasport in Italy, right? Mediaset or whatever. Well, that's not a, that's a private company. So, who's behind that company? Or maybe it's on Sky. And maybe Sky, in the panel of people that are, asking the questions, maybe there's two guys that are ex-Inter players, one guy that's an ex-Milan player, and one guy that's an ex-Juve player, right? So then, there's a Juve-Napoli game, something happens, and they're just going to grill the referee if he doesn't do things in favor of Juve. Why? Because there's an ex-Juve player in the studio. And the ref knows that. So throughout the game, he's not going to want to do things that are going to go against Juve because he doesn't want to face backlash on live television in front of millions of people of ex-Juve players asking him all these tough questions if he doesn't give something their way. So if we are going to have referees come on post-match, then we have to make sure that the media is fair. There's equal representation of the two clubs involved in that game, with people and them asking the same amounts of questions. And that's pretty much it, that both clubs are represented. Because so often, when coaches get interviewed post-game, they are tougher to some coaches than they are to others, because sometimes a coach is friends with the guys in the studio, or it's a coach of a team that has a lot of ex-players in the studio in that team. So, we got to be careful. I think you guys get my point, but you got to be careful there. And this is not some conspiracy theory, the media is trying to brain. No, I'm just stating what actually happens. We see it all the time when Spalletti goes in front of the media and you get some dumb questions from Sky Italia, from players, from ex-coaches like Capello, or ex-players like Bergomi, who are pro-Juve or pro-Inter, right? And so they want to get that snarky comment from Spalletti to destabilize Napoli. It happens all the time. And then Bergomi is super nice to Inzaghi. Why? Because the guy played for Inter and Inzaghi is Inter's coach. It's just the way it is. It's not, just the way it is. Antonio Mascolo says, hey Dom, I didn't see the game, but I enjoyed it anyways. Nice. Forza Napoli sempre. Eric Guerrero says, a historic season awaits Naples. Let's hope so. Easy Scudetto for Napoli this year, objectively speaking, says Solo. No. That I will never say, that it's going to be an easy Scudetto. This is anything but easy. This game today was anything but easy, and one loss and we're tied on points with Milan again, so it's not easy. Anthony says, feel that Anthony G. Dev can see Meret doesn't play well when he competes for his position. He tends to overthink. Yeah. And guys, by the way, speaking of Meret and being goalkeeper, so yesterday, I think some of you know I have a ACL problem with my knee, so I can't really play outfield anymore. So I was like, I'll join and I'll play goalie, right, with the 8-a-side team that my uni has or whatever. And I was so bad. I was like, damn, Meret, maybe I got to go easy on this guy, because being a goalkeeper, It's hard. It's underrated, underrated skill, being a goalkeeper. Um, so yeah, Anthony Maximus 1318 says you obviously aren't Southern Italian if you don't believe in jinxes. Yeah, that's a stupid stereotype. Because not everyone in the South believes in jinxes. And plus, I'm not even saying we'll win the Scudetto. I'm saying we're in the fight, which is completely different from saying we're gonna win. It's completely different. Does Sirigu need some game time? You think Meret has looked alright, but you know how it goes with goalkeepers. Nah. Meret, just give him as many games as possible. Anyways, let's move on with the analysis, guys. You guys are waiting. Oh yeah, and this was Mourinho, obviously Mourinho making a show. Lozano had a good game, guys. Lozano, not the most visually appealing football player that exists. A little bit clumsy, him and the ball. They don't have the best relationship, but he made things work, and he's been making things work recently. He's got so much. He's got these bursts of energy, right? Where even though he's not the most refined on the ball, his change of direction has been incredible this year, and he's been skipping past players almost, as consistently as Kvara. Obviously, Kvara makes it a bit more with flair, but Lozano has probably been more efficient in terms of success rate. And he had a good dribble here, and unfortunately his shot was straight at the goalie, but a good effort by Lozano. And then we get to the second half, and again we see one of the main times that Napoli was super dangerous was when we were cutting right through the middle, as we saw earlier in the first half. This is again Zielinski with the ball cutting right through the Roma midfield, and then lays it off for Kvaratskhelia. Kvaratskhelia drops the shoulder and gets past his man, and then Smalling comes in to block it. This wasn't going in. I know the arrow shows like it might have, but actually the ball was going completely wide. I just drew the arrow there because I was running out of time. But yeah, this was the only chance that Kvara had the whole game. So Kvara, not his best attacking performance, also because he didn't have the chances to really show his skills. But he was super useful at the end of the game to keep the ball for the last 10 minutes, slow the tempo down and all that. So still a very good game for him. And yeah, again, Zielinski, I think he was at the heart of so many attacks. Here he gave the ball to Di Lorenzo. Di Lorenzo faked the shot, but then actually put it in the second post for, again, Zielinski. Zielinski showing great movement. And again, you could consider this as him running right through the Roma midfield. I mean, they're just not able to pick up Zielinski today. Plays it back to Elmas, who had just come on, and Smalling blocks Elmas' shot. So Smalling was having a good game up until this point, right? And it was looking like, Smalling wasn't going to be beat. But things changed. A few minutes later, things changed. I just want to highlight Zielinski's performances here. Just incredible player this season. He had a few bad passes in the first half. 2 or 3 times screwed up the exact same pass towards Oliveira. Maybe not the best understanding yet between them two compared to Mario Rui. But it's understandable. We've been playing with Mario Rui for 5 years now alongside Zielinski. So, there's some things that Zielinski does which are like instinctive, natural, and Oliveira just hasn't quite, picked up yet, maybe where he needs to position himself to receive some of those passes. All right, let me go to some comments before moving on with the analysis. We almost have 200 likes, guys, which is crazy. Don't forget to smash that like button if you are enjoying this analysis. Dean's Life says, what a finish from Osimhen. Smart finish from across the goal after he had earlier missed easier opportunity, and we'll get to that 100%. Let's see some more recent comments, guys. Felix Peter says, I'm very glad to have met you live watching from Nigeria, West Africa. Let's go, Felix, man. I'm loving all the Nigerians that are watching today. Maxima says, if Napoli win the Scudetto, I will ask my girl to marry me. Don't know how I feel about that just yet. Yikes. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I mean, relationship advice is gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you. I'm not gonna give you my advice for free. I'm gonna, marriage counselors make a lot of money. I'm just kidding, man. Yeah, do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. I honestly, man, if Napoli win the Scudetto, marrying someone would be like the least things on my mind. I think I will be celebrating for the next like 5 years. If the thing is, if Napoli win the Scudetto, it'll probably be the end of Napoli talk, because I will just be celebrating for the next 5 years. Like, true story. So you won't see me around if we win the Scudetto. I'll be who knows where. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how to help you there. I don't know how to help you. Anyways, Maximus also says, because he also talks about football, says, I'm putting il malocchio on the rest of Serie A. Did Jose really say something about Lozano diving? Oh man, Maximus is bringing up Mourinho's press conference. We haven't even got to Spalletti's. I don't know what he said. I just want to say I love you all, and remember, you are loved. Forza Napoli sempre. Yeah, from Anthony Navarro. Yeah, this stream is getting very lovey-dovey. But I want to focus on Napoli, right? And then you guys can confess your love for whoever you want at your own time. Maybe even between yourselves. Maybe this could be a matchmaking platform for some of you. Anyways, moving on. We get to a chance a few seconds later, I think from that same corner where Elmas' shot got blocked. With Juan Jesus, slicing his effort here. That could have been an easy goal for him. Yeah, clearly not a striker. I mean, it would have been crazy for him to get 2 goals in 2 games. And then we see another chance where we are running through the middle, and we just managed to make that work for us, because Roma's midfield was all over the place today. They had no distances managed. They didn't manage distances between themselves, so we could slice right through them. Lozano gave the ball to Osimhen. Osimhen beats his man, but then goes and shoots just wide, and you think, come on, bro. Come on, 20 minutes left and you miss this shot? Come on. That's what we were all thinking, right? But don't worry, because he was about to produce something better, right? And those of you that haven't seen the goal, maybe for whatever reason, I'm not gonna tell you just yet. I'm gonna get some comments in. First, Fish and Broad says the last 10 minutes showed real growth. Previously, we would have suffered a lot more defending right at the edge of our box. True. I remember last year when we were winning games, in the last 10 minutes, we would get so many crosses thrown into our box. We would concede so many fouls. We would do just so much stupid stuff. So yeah, 100% we've shown improvement there. Daniel Nervosa says, ciao Dom, how great was Gaetano today? Not sure how Ndombele wasn't given the penalty. Clearly got the first touch. Yeah, we talked a little bit about the penalty. 50-50. Ultimately, I'm glad we didn't get it and we won without it. And Gaetano was incredible today. Incredible. I think he had one mistake, and it was kind of a big one, and we'll talk about it. Webway says, what do you think about Kvaratskhelia? Amazing player. Just incredible player. Unfortunately today, with so many people watching, he wasn't able to show his best, but he still had one really good chance, and he was amazing in the last 10 minutes to help Napoli control the game and control the ball. But anyways, let's talk about the goal, right? Because this is a very interesting goal. You can see here, right? Smalling is giving himself not 1 yard of space, but several. Like, this is about 2 or 3 meters of space for sure. More 4 meters of space. This is like 10 yards or something like that. And obviously he's doing that because he knows he doesn't have the speed of Osimhen in case a ball is thrown behind him. But so it's crazy to think where Osimhen's goal started from Osimhen starting all the way back there. Anyways, Di Lorenzo passes the ball over to Politano, right? And Politano, who had just come on, does something super smart. He spots the run of Osimhen, which is not easy to do, spots the run of Osimhen and gives it to him first time. And Osimhen manages to beat Chris Smalling, and from there scores an incredible goal. Look at that position. This is as hard as it gets, pretty much. This takes some real skill to pull off. Like, I don't know how he did this. How was he able to score this and not the one before? Like the one before, let's go back. Let's pull the tape back. But the one before, he was in a much better chance, much better position compared to that. And here the ball is bouncing, it's going away from him. The other one, it's on the ground. The goalkeeper came out a little bit, so he could have maybe even chipped it. This was hard. This was hard. And he makes it work. And now, the last bit of the analysis of the game is here. Gaetano comes on, right? He's been on for about 30 minutes here. And what he does here is actually he takes a shot. Whereas I think a more mature player here would have maybe passed it to Kvaratskhelia. So he's still got to improve a little bit, in my opinion. Right? And finally, these are the player ratings, guys. And I think the thing that is most impressive here, the thing that will hurt Roma the most and Mourinho the most, and should give Mourinho absolutely no happiness for today, is the fact that Meret doesn't have a score. I can't give Meret a score on this game because he didn't touch the ball. And that's embarrassing for Roma, that they couldn't do one shot on target. Not one cross, not one shot, nothing. Maybe one cross. Maybe there was one time Meret had to catch the ball. But not good enough for Roma, that you're playing at home and the opposite goalkeeper has an NA. So, that says a lot about Roma. A lot about Roma. Lawrence Moore 14 says, can we take a moment to thank Napoli Talk for his insane work rate, analyzes Napoli whilst the games are on, and somehow balances out uni. Fair play bro. Thanks man. Not just that, gotta do a lot of stuff. But I do it by choice, so it's cool. And sometimes, like for example, right, we have Atalanta coming up at some point later this season, and it happens to coincide, exam season. I may not be able to cover that game, so it's not like I'm always able to balance things out. I even missed Milan Napoli, which is not good. But it doesn't happen very often. Anyways, guys, I think the two key things here, right? And usually I go over every single player, but there's really two things that stand out here. Meret, NA, because he didn't get a single shot on target against him. And Osimhen, 9. Now, a lot of you guys will say, but Dom, he only has one goal. He missed a good chance earlier. Isn't a 9 supposed to be for one of those like epic performances? And the answer is yes. It's meant to be for an epic performance where maybe you score 3 goals or something like that, or 1 goal and 2 assists or whatever. But for me, I think that this is what the essence of a striker needs to be. Like somehow get on the score sheet. Doesn't matter if it's an easy goal or a hard goal, but get on the score sheet and have your team win 1-0. That's brilliant for a striker. And what a goal it was. It was a super hard goal. Needs to be rewarded because the level of difficulty was super high. So just because of how hard it was, it's an extra point. And his work rate was incredible today. Like, he had Smalling and Ibanez all over him the whole game, and he was collecting every single ball that came forward, distributing it extremely well to Di Lorenzo or Lozano or Politano or Kvaratskhelia. He was defending so many times. He came back, recovered the ball in defense, even got one time Cristante booked because Cristante controlled the ball and Osimhen came from behind him to steal it off of him, and this was in Napoli's half. So, he had incredible work rate today. Incredible. And we can talk about his missed chance, but ultimately he had an amazing game. Amazing game in my opinion. Let's see some comments, guys. Let's see here. See what you guys think about this. I would like to see some Primavera depth added to the squad. The Primavera got a midfielder, Alutsway from La Masia, and I would like to see him with the first team at some point this season. Yeah, so, obviously a player coming from Barcelona is interesting. Very interesting, and I think that's going to raise everybody's level in the Primavera. Meret intercepted potential goals, though. He had one time that it wasn't a shot on goal. Roma has 0 shots on goal. What Meret had to do once was collect a cross. That's it. Osimhen was amazing, says Levan Kvaratskhelia. I think Kim deserves at least an 8. As I said before, I think Juan Jesus and Kim deserve a bit higher. Maybe they do deserve an 8. It's just one of those things where it deserves an 8, but maybe Roma didn't do enough to really test them. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, imagine you're 20 years old, right? You just graduated from high school, you're doing uni, you're studying math or whatever, and then someone comes up to you and is like, hey, can you take my 3rd grade elementary school math test? And you're like, yeah, sure. And you obviously ace it, right? You get a 10 out of 10. Well, I mean, yeah, you did amazing, but was it a hard test for you? Not really. So, does it really, can we really say like an amazing performance? I mean, it is what it is, right? He did his job. I think this is a really bad example, but I mean, I don't think Roma did enough for us to really give him an 8, right? If they gave him a bit more difficulties, if they were making some crazy runs into the box, if they were putting a lot of crosses in, if they were doing all that sort of stuff, and it still remained 0-1 for Napoli, then yeah, 8 and above. But I just don't think Roma challenged him enough. But maybe I'm wrong, because Levan is saying Kim does deserve 8. He didn't let them get close, beating Roma at close to center, which is kind of true. So yeah. He did stop things happening before they came to the box, before they became dangerous. So you know what? I'll accept that. I'll accept an 8. I'll put it in the back of my mind that it's an 8 because, and you might be saying, why is it important that I do this? Because at the end of the season, we're gonna have to get an average of everybody's performance to see who's the best player in the season, right? Who's been the most valuable, and all that sort of stuff. So I need to remember that I need to give Kim an 8 as my final number. And then we had Kvara, Lozano, they did well. Zielinski did well. Lobotka ran the midfield. A great game. I didn't really like Ndombele, you know. Um, didn't really like Ndombele, which is yeah, I expected a bit more from him, but he had that one chance. He had that one chance where he could have gotten a penalty. I really liked Gaetano though. Gaetano came on, did a lot of good stuff. I want to see this kid play a bit more, and he's Neapolitan, right? So give him more time. Make him part of this team. Build a team around him. Maybe not yet, right? But start thinking about it. Yeah. So Joe Java says it was the worst game of Kvara. I mean his skills. Yeah, he didn't have the same inspiration that he had other times. But so I think up until the 80th minute, I would have given him a 7 because I still think he had some good things that he was showing. But then the last 10 minutes, guys, like he basically made sure that we kept possession of the ball. It was all thanks to Kvara the last 10 minutes. So I thought that was really good. Anyways, guys, let's go and see what the next games are for Napoli. We've got Rangers Champions League, then Liverpool, Rangers, then Sassuolo, then Liverpool, then Atalanta, then Empoli. All in the look, in the next 20 days, no, not even, in the next 15 days, 16 days, we've got 6 games. So every 3 days we're playing. It's going to be super important for Spalletti to manage this team. So I think for games like the one against Rangers, I think he's got to play people like Gaetano, people like Elmas. We need to see them start this kind of game because we need everybody to be 100% in the Serie A because we've already qualified for the Champions League, right? And as long as we then get a draw at Liverpool, then we're good. We're good to go. And then we've got a super important game against Atalanta. Atalanta away, then Empoli. Empoli should be straightforward, I hope, because after that, we're getting very, very close to the end of the first part of the season, and then the World Cup starts. And we need to make sure that we are heading into the break with the biggest gap possible and the best form possible. So yeah, these are our next games, guys. Now, let's see what Spalletti had to say today for the last part of the video. And then so it's already midnight, guys. So those of you that are still watching in Central European time, congrats. It's already the next day. You've watched me from one day to the next. Let's see Spalletti, what he had to say. Right. So they ask him, was this game won with intelligence or by being, a little cynical? And he says, yeah, there's a lot of satisfaction. There's a lot of satisfaction in the changing room because we won the game how we thought we needed to win the game. The team had to make use of the few chances that Roma was going to give us, and we did not fall into the traps that they prepared for us. We kept our structure, and we managed to win the game the way we prepared it, which is amazing to hear a coach say that. It means the team are really following him, and there's a lot of cohesion and understanding in the team. Osimhen's goal is something that a top player would score, and he is a top player. The mistake that he made 5 minutes before was so much easier than the one he scored. He still needs to grow in that regards, but he has grown massively. Sometimes he wants to be the hero on every single ball. Instead, tonight, he also waited for the players to come and support him, and that allowed us to develop a lot of different opportunities. So what Spalletti is talking about there, sometimes we give the ball long to Osimhen, and instead of waiting for support, Osimhen takes it and runs with it. And sometimes, instead of running at the keeper, he runs maybe like to the corner flag and kind of puts himself in a bad spot. Whereas sometimes all you got to do is just receive the ball, wait 2 seconds, and then you can pass it to team that's coming to support you. And he did that extremely well today. And yes, Paletti's right. It was very good play by Osimhen all around. And he says, it's also I just also want to point out that Politano gave him a very good pass. They ask him about the quality of this team, and he says, look, yeah, we've got quality, but not just us. Other teams, Roma, Inter, Milan, Juve, have also a lot of quality on their bench. We are just very good at having substitutes come in and be ready to make an impact. Kim was very good. Juan Jesus was also very good. They were amazing today. We won the game, fully deserved, and very happy with it. They asked him about the referee, about how that was, if there was any problems with the referee, and he says, look, I've always been very calm and good in my behavior. When he gave me a yellow card, I was telling Juan Jesus how to behave, so I don't know why the ref came and gave me a yellow card. Roma, I expected them to play like this. They prepared the game very well, and they went to play the game the way that they structured it as well, but we were just better at not falling into their traps. So he's repeating that a few times. They ask him about Gaetano and the subs, and he says, yeah, it was a very uncertain game, so it was very difficult to make substitutes. We've only made 3 substitutes. We didn't make use of all 5. I was very tempted to put on Raspadori. Then I decided to remain with the same system. Probably the players that entered were very good at interpreting the game. We have a team that's very aware of the movements of their teammates. We're not only thinking about our own quality, but we recognize the qualities of the teammates. We have great compactness. We were able to maintain it, and this will give us a lot of advantages. Gaetano is a talent. Everybody knows it. He did some things very well. He was also, however, surprised by a few situations that he ran himself into, and for example, he could have passed it to Kvara at one point, and it's something that I pointed out in the analysis about 5 minutes ago. But the fact that he took a shot shows that he has character, but still he's not able to read every situation extremely well. They tell them, in the summer the fans were angry. Now 11 wins in a row, first in the championship, first in the Champions League. Did you already know this from this summer? And he says, look, we put in a lot of work morning until night to bring this type of football to the fans. We go to the field, we try to tell the players what to do, how to grow, to put them in the position to express themselves. And I thought we did a very good job over the summer in this. But at the end of the day, it's up to the players to then put it into practice. What kind of message does this give to the championship? They ask Spalletti, and he says, look, to win 11 games is the signal that we're sending out. That's the signal. There's nothing more to add. The next game will be even more difficult because the fact that we win so many games is just gonna make our rivals even more hungry to make us trip up. So we have to remain lucid. We have to keep the games clean, and we even if we lose one bad ball, that could be the end of our streak, and we need to be very careful to be very clean in our passes. And we saw Spalletti in the first half maybe it was in the second half, Zielinski made a bad pass and Spalletti lost it. So he's very, very, the thing about Spalletti, I think compared to other coaches, is that when there's a bad pass, he's a coach that gets more mad than any coach I've ever seen. Like, he hates bad passes. He accepts misses. He accepts like a bad dribble. What he cannot accept is a bad pass. I think it shows the fact that he's focused a lot in training on that, because we play very good football. Then they say, the last question is you're 10 points on top of Juventus, 8 on top of Inter, 7 on top of Roma, 3 on top of Milan. How do you define Napoli's season up to now? And he says, look, you don't win a title after 11 games. You win a title in May or in June or August or whenever that is because of this World Cup. When the championship is over is when you win. We need to keep our feet on the ground. Zero, hype, zero cockiness. We need to keep doing exactly as we're doing, training day after day. And, on Wednesday, we want the full house against Rangers. So that's Spalletti, guys. Guys, that was Spalletti. I need to wake up in 5 hours and a half because I got to get my gym in the morning. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Who does that? But I do that, because then I don't have time afterwards because I'm in uni all day. So, yeah, I got to go. So, yeah, it's going to be an abrupt end to this show. I'm going to get maybe like 2 more comments, 2 or 3, 5 more comments, and then I got to go. Salvador Ruiz says, it's great to see this Napoli team having a strong will and pulling out results. Exactly. Let's see. Adam201 says, Mourinho's quote is, congrats to Napoli who won without deserving to, and to us who lost without deserving to. Oh my God, Mourinho. Jesus Christ, what a sore loser. Imagine being Mourinho, man. Jesus Christ. And let's see some more comments. 3 more. Michael Chon says, I think 8 for Zelu was generous. He lost possession a lot and misplaced many passes. You can tell the midfield has significantly less energy without Anguissa. I did mention the fact that he had lost a few balls, but at the same time, I thought he was instrumental in giving us so many chances in the first half. I mean, he set up Ndombele for the penalty that never was, and yeah, I just thought he was very good, very active, very lively in the midfield, and especially because Anguissa wasn't there today, because we were missing his energy. Zielinski had to bring in that much more. Obviously, he screwed up some passes, but it's just because the feeling with him and Oliveira is not yet there. All right, last comment. Alessandro, no, 2 more comments. A lot of our players won't play at the World Cup. You think that might be crucial? Says Deep Down the Rabbit Hole. Yes, I think that's crucial. And I might make a video about, what teams are going to have what players at the World Cup and compare it to Napoli. Alessandro Kuric says, coming in late. Good to see you guys. It's still live. After party was great. We deserved the win today, and with no Anguissa and Osimhen not in full match speed. I think by now we can say Osimhen is in full match speed. It's been like 2 or 3 weeks now, but yes, still no Anguissa, who was probably our most important player this season so far, so it's great. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. It's been a pleasure. Napoli are giving us a great season, and I'm super happy. Hope you guys have an amazing week, and see you guys on Wednesday. And as always, Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.